to Crossplay, our video game podcast here at the Whatnots. It is Tuesday, July 12th. I was like, It's Saturday. It's not. Man, I am having the worst time trying to host these things now. And always
it's Friday, November 6th.
You know what? It might as well be. Tuesday, July 12th, 2022. This is number 125 of our podcast. And coming up on today's show, God of War Ragnarok finally has a release date. E3 is going to be produced by ReedPop in 2023. And Hideo Kojima was falsely identified as Shinzo Abe's assassin? Holy moly, what is happening this week in video games? There's lots of stuff. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Ignacio Rojas.
Hello.
And Alan Busby.
Good afternoon. Or is it evening at this point? Good evening.
Good afternoon, good evening, good night.
When does it stop being the afternoon and starts being evening? And when does it stop being evening and then it's night?
And
the lines are blurred.
I feel like good evening is a less common saying than good afternoon. It's just, it's the evening, which is weird to me. I don't know. Maybe it's all nonsense here. But yeah, this week has been wild in terms of video game news and all that stuff. We're still in that dry spell of like not many games are out right now, but they're about to be. But in terms of news itself, there was just a lot that happened this week here. So we got a lot to talk about.
I know that we have several news stories, and I know that you have a hard out. But before that, I need to talk to you. And maybe Alan about something, ask you a question, non-gaming related.
Sure.
So as you guys might have known, I've been for the past few months watching several new animes for me. I watched Evangelion, Gurren Lagann. Most recently, I started watching Code Geass, and of course, all these animes have one thing in common: that they're great, of course. But another thing that they have in common is that they have mecha in them. They are mecha anime. And I just finished Code Geass, and I don't know where to go next. Of course, it doesn't have to be mechas, but I've been going through a mecha trend lately. And Kyle, I know that you love mecha. Of course, you are a Gundam fanboy. And I wanted to ask you, do you have any recommendations? And specifically for Gundam, what's the appeal of Gundam?
There's all sorts of stuff. So there's a couple different ways to get into Gundam. I always recommend the original show from 1979, but that comes with some caveats, right? It is a really old show. So if you're not used to that style of anime, it can be maybe a little hard to get into. But that original show is what launched it into stardom. That's what made it super successful. And the timeline that story takes place in is the most fleshed out timeline in the Gundam universe. There's a bunch of different shows that are all sequels, but there are Gundam shows out there that like have nothing to do with that original timeline. So if you want something more modern, there are options for that. But yeah, I like the original show. I think that show is fantastic. It started out as this very serious cartoon, right? It was not a kids show per se. It was very much about the realities of war. It's a cartoon that is very anti-war. It's not the like, oh, cool robot. It's like, oh shit, that's a fucking giant robot. That's not good.
that has always been my question with Gundam, because what I like about, again, Evangelion, Code Geass, and Gurren Lagann isn't that they are mecha anime, but they are anime with such deep stories, such deep character developments and character relationships that happens to have mecha to use to develop all those things. So that has always been my question with Gundam. Is it that, or is it more about let's fight evil and shit like that?
simpler, I will say that, than Neon Genesis, because that is more of a deconstruction of the genre of like, hey, the genre is usually about these kids jumping into these giant robots to fight a war. And so what are the psychological effects of that stuff?
I can't tell you the appeal of it, but I got two for you. I got two recommendations that got mech in it. You ready? Zoids and Big O.
Yes.
Zoids? I think I know what Zoids is.
Zoids is the meme pick, but Big O is actually pretty good because I used to watch it when I was younger, but I can't tell you the appeal of it because I don't remember it anymore.
So I'll speak on those in just a sec here. So I've mentioned the original Gundam. That is a great place to start if you want to start from square one. There is Gundam War in the Pocket, which is a 6 episode kind of, hey, this has all the trappings of a Gundam. But it's a lot shorter, right? So it's like, hey, you can watch that, and if you like it, then you can go explore some more. If you're looking for something more modern, I would suggest Iron-Blooded. Excuse me. I would suggest Iron-Blooded Orphans. That one has 2 seasons and is very, very good. I highly recommend that. And then last but not least, if you want kind of a prequel to the original show, but is a more modern, not take, but they made it more recently, Mobile Suit Gundam, the origin is fantastic.
Okay.
Now, Zoids. Zoids is just a great mecha show. In general, the mechs are more like here's a tiger looking mech, here's a Tyrannosaurus looking mech, and it is more of your typical like shoujo manga and anime stuff.
And Zoids is also like pretty old too, if I remember. Like Zoids is old. I think it has like a resurgence, but I'm thinking of like the original Zoids.
Yeah, original Zoids was on that early tail of like it's still hand drawn, but the mechs are CG.
Yeah,
they do that stuff. Yeah. And Big O.
Big O is actually good.
So here's the thing: I don't know if that show is just impenetrably confusing or absolutely fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
this show is wild.
I remember watching it on Adult Swim
series.
Like I would remember watching on Adult Swim, and I'd watch it, and it's cool. Like just watching it, you're like, this is cool. But it's also the thing of like, this is so cool, but I don't know what's going on.
It is very confusing. It is metaphor on metaphor on metaphor.
Yeah,
if
a meta
show.
show.
Yeah, it's very much that. If you liked the kind of psychological aspects of what's happening in Neon Genesis, then this might be of a similar ilk. It's not so much psychological, but just what the fuck is going on in that. I do have to say, here at the Whatnots, before we had the Whatnots review show, we just had the Whatnots podcast. Me and the Whatnots co-creator Paul covered that show. So on our website, we do have a podcast covering Big O. If you want, like after you watch that show, you can go do all of that stuff. But holy shit, I walked out of that just being like, what the fuck did I just watch?
maybe I should rewatch Big O, and now that I'm older, maybe I'll be able to like wrap my head around it better. Than when I was but Kyle, when I first watched Big O, I was preteen. So like I didn't even have like the brain development to be like, oh yeah, this is I get what's going on here.
The fun of that show is watching it, thinking you kind of know what happened, and then diving into all the like theories online and the way it all connect, and it just like, what? No, it's just a big old rabbit hole. So yeah,
never forget that, Ignacio. When you watch it, if you watch Big O, you better come back and do the Big O, and then the fucking I want to hear the loud Big O.
Indeed.
Okay. Thank you for the recommendations.
Absolutely. Well, let's jump into what we've been playing. There you go. So for Alan and I, we haven't really been playing much. Kind of the same things that we were last week. I'm sure you've been playing Sonic and Death Door. I'm still playing Final Fantasy X.
I pretty much finished both, and honestly, Ignacio, I guess you were right. I like how when we had games you were playing, Ignacio was like, I haven't played anything, we're in a drought. And then last week, Kyle and I were like, yeah, we were playing old games because we're in a drought. And this week, we're like, yeah, no, there's a drought. We're not playing anything. And now Ignacio has games.
Yeah, so Ignacio,
Christ,
this section is dedicated to you. What has Ignacio been playing?
Oh, there are no games. There's no games.
Yeah, there's no new games. We're in a drought.
I mean, there are games out there. We could have been playing Neon White.
Yeah.
Stuff like
I could be playing Monster Hunter Rise, but...
Yeah, so again, as we all know, there has been a drought, so I've been playing old games. Been jumping in between games, so here are 3 that I wanted to highlight that I spent more time than the others. The first one is Into the Breach. Kyle, I don't know if you remember when we were doing one of our E3 conversations, I talked about how I wanted to get more into the strategy games.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went into the Breach because as it turned out, I had it on Epic Games.
Yeah.
It was free at one point. So I just jumped in and I really enjoyed it a lot. For the time that I played it, it was a lot of fun. The strategy of having to manage my mechs. I can go back to mechs. Manage my mechs with the different abilities that they had, and this puzzle of I know I have these 3 mechs here, and I know that I have to kill all these enemies, prevent them from attacking the cities, all that. What's the play? Like, kind of like in chess. What's the play? How do I move them so that they can be in the right place at the right moment? And I really enjoyed it a lot. I think that I wish that more things would carry over between runs, because if you do not know, part of the story of it is that you are kind of like time travelers in a way in this dystopian world where if you lose, you send back one of your squad mates back to the past, to the beginning of the game, so that you can try again. And so the only thing that you carry back in between runs is one of your pilots. You carry their experience, and that would be it. So I feel like every run you have to start over pretty much. And the game is fairly short. You have 4 main islands that you go through, and that you unlock depending on how many islands you've unlocked in one run. But then once I got a pretty good groove into the game, I beat the first 2 islands for the first time in my run, and then that same run I went and finished the next 2 islands. And then after finishing the final mission, I now feel like I have no reason to go back to it. You are as meant to go back and do things in a better way, up your high score and whatever. But the game makes you go through the 4 islands in one run pretty much. And then once you do that, I feel like there's no reason to go back. It is fairly short once you finally beat it. And that's one of my disappointments, where I was very into the game while I was playing it, but once I got to the final boss, I feel like there's no reason to go back to it.
Yeah, the idea is you like unlock new mechs or new pilots or gain new like abilities and stuff, so that helps you progress further in the game. But once you've kind of, it's just like the joy of playing it. Like if that's what you like, that's the only thing to go back into. But yeah, that game is very good though.
Yeah, it is very good for the time that you are still trying to beat it. The next game that I wanted to talk about is Rogue Legacy 2. A while back in the podcast, I talked about playing through Rogue Legacy 1. And Rogue Legacy 2 is very much the original game. Of course, different areas and pretty looking or whatever, but it is pretty much the original game, but with some added elements. So it is still the same idea of you go into the castle, and every time you die, you come back as one of your descendants, and the castle changes every time, and you collect money in the castle in your run and upgrade your castle, upgrade yourself, get new abilities, get new classes, stuff like that. And Rogue Legacy 2 is pretty much in all those aspects the same as Rogue Legacy 1, but it adds more to it. So the upgrades, there are kind of some different upgrades where before it would be kind of like you unlock the blacksmith and the woman that enchants your things, and you can lock the castle. But now it is that, but also you got you unlock different types of challenges. You get different currencies that you can use. Playing through the castle, you can now, if you reach a certain point, you meet the pizza girl. And if you have a certain amount of money and you get to one of the teleportation portals that moves you around the castle, you can permanently unlock that one portal. So even though the castle now changes with everyone, you will always be able to get to that one portal that gets you to the beginning of the other section. So it makes progression that much easier, where you no longer have to pretty much start from square one and then try to get to the other areas. You can now get to the other areas first, fairly sooner now. And now they also added the kind of like equipments or abilities that you can get that will kind of like in a Metroidvania style let you progress further into the game. There are certain areas that you can get, but you cannot progress through them unless you have the certain ability. So it is kind of like Metroidvania in that aspect.
That's cool.
Wasn't as far as I know in the first game. So Rogue Legacy 1 is pretty much Rogue Legacy 2 is pretty much Rogue Legacy 1, but with more elements that make the game kind of like easier or better to progress through, and new elements.
Good stuff.
And then I don't know if you guys want to talk about it, or no. Okay.
I've not played it, so I don't really have much else to say on that one. But
all three games that you have, Ignacio, I have played none of them.
Good to know. The last one that I just wanted to talk about real quick is Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Man, it is incredible, and it is surprising how the game that came out 2016, if I'm not mistaken, is still getting updated to this day. It still gets new DLC. And so I stopped playing it a while back. I jumped into for a couple of the DLCs that came out afterwards, story DLCs, but at some point I just stopped. And I have been seeing that the game keeps getting story DLC. The story looks good. So I decided, hey, I love Dragon Ball. I want new stories. I'm going to go into it. When I played it on my PS4. That's where my save character is on my DLC. But now I have my PC, which is ultra wide. And it is fairly beefy. And I thought, hey, why? It is the Steam sale. The game is fairly cheap. The DLC is cheap also. Why don't I do it on my PC? Go through the DLC on my PC. It will be fine. I'll be able to play the DLC. I won't go through it, sir. I'll play the DLC. I do all that. Go into the game. First of all, it is fairly complicated the way that you have to access the DLC, where I'm not always sure if I have it or not. Is this DLC story or not? But once I get there, I go in, first new character, level 1. You have to go through this one gate, and it says, hey, recommended level 90. Level 90 to play the DLC. And I go in there, and of course, I'm not doing anything. it's impossible to progress through it. So I'm just going through the game again.
You would. That's the
again.
way you kidnap Ignacio. You just leave a trail of like Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z games, and he's like, "Ooh, shiny!" And he goes to the next one, "Ooh, shiny!"
Ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ignacio feels like the other. Ignacio feels like the coin flip of myself. Like, I love the Digimon games, but like coming up with Digimon Survive, like, I'm excited to play it, but I know that game's gonna be bad. I feel like Ignacio and I, to some degree, have like rose-colored glasses. Like, there are a lot of not great modern Dragon Ball Z games, but Ignacio loves them all. And like, there's not a lot of great, super amazing modern Digimon games, but I still love them. Like, it always makes me think of that. I'll never let go of how Kakarot is very mid.
Kakarot is great. One of the greatest games of all time. You shut your fucking mouth. But yeah, I'm going through Xenoverse again.
Cool.
I'm skipping most of the time patrol things. I'm just watching the story, this Dragon Ball Z story, all that cutscenes and that. But I'm trying to go fast through the game. But I do have to commend the game for committing to it. Again, the game came out in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. And it keeps getting DLC, it keeps getting updated. And they have this story that they've been telling, the time patrollers. They've incorporated several elements from Dragon Ball Heroes and Dragon Ball Online and made them their own in Dragon Ball Xenoverse. And I commend them from sticking to it. They keep at some point they brought in the character of Few, which I don't know if he is original to Xenoverse or Heroes or Online or whatever, but they made him a main villain in one of the DLCs, and they have keep going through with that character, and they've been making him a part of the reason as to why there is more DLC. And
that's cool.
They are taking characters from Z and more fleshing out. We know their backstory, but they're fleshing out more of their character. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys remember Dabura, Babidi's henchman, demon guy. He is in the show. They tell you he's the king of the demon realm, but Xenoverse and Z never did anything with that. You just know that he's the king of the demon realm. But Xenoverse took that, made the main villains a big part of the demon realm, and now the latest DLC, they have Dabura there. They made him now, I believe he's now the antagonist of the DLC, and his goal is to bring back their demon realm. And I love how they did that. And so shout out to Xenoverse for committing to it. And I wish Kakarot would have gotten that same love. We only got like 2-3 story DLC.
Oh well.
Oh well, indeed.
Oh well. Cool. Well, thanks for sharing all of that. We're gonna do something a little bit differently and switch up the order of the show. So we are actually going to jump into our new and notable section next. So let me hit that button.
Yep, as Kyle said, we're switching it up on you. So first up on our new and notable list, Kirby's Dream Buffet was actually announced, I believe, earlier today of recording this on the 12th, and it will be coming this summer, which is crazy because we just got that Kirby, that new one, like not long ago.
Yeah.
So,
well, it is a different kind of Kirby game. It is meant to be more like a Fall Guys type of game where you are competing with other Kirbys through these courses and stuff like that.
Next up, Rune Factory 5 is coming out July 15th for PC. That's it. As Dusk Falls comes out for the Xbox Series X and S, the Xbox One, and PC, and this is on July 19th. As Ignacio mentioned, Into the Breach comes out for iOS and Android on July 19th, but only available through the Netflix app.
Yeah. Interesting.
Interesting. The big one I'm excited for, and I think a lot of people are, Stray comes out for PlayStation 5, the 4, and PC on July 19th.
Yeah, I'm excited about that one.
The best cat game of all time. Next up, Bright Memory Infinite for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and the Switch on July 21st.
Did it come out on PC already?
I don't know.
PC here.
It might have. I don't remember. I know this was that one that they showed like 2 years ago.
This is
the
upcoming.
like Xbox thing. Yeah. That was made by one person, and then I think it turned out that he was like stealing assets from something. I think. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
You're fine. So next up, a game a lot of people are excited for, Live Alive, comes out for Switch on July 22nd.
I'm stoked. This game looks awesome.
I gotta pick and choose. I'm only buying 3 games this month, and I already got my 3 picked. So I can't do Live Alive, but I look forward to hearing your opinions though, Kyle.
Yeah, for sure.
The long rumored GoldenEye 007 remake has reportedly been delayed due to the ongoing war with Ukraine. I also didn't know a remake was rumored of this game.
How did you know that?
It's been rumored for a long time. There's been leaks of like, here's
we
the
talked
Xbox
about it in the podcast. So
I have never played GoldenEye.
I mean,
You've never
I played GoldenEye Reloaded.
I've
really
never
liked the game.
I've never even played it at a friend's house. I've never even touched this game.
I started GoldenEye several times.
Sorry. And the last one on New and Notable, Ubisoft is shutting down the online portions of Assassin's Creed Liberation HD on Steam September 1st. They did clarify only DLC and online features would be affected, and that current owners would still be able to access the game, play it, and re-download it.
Didn't know that Liberation had only.
I didn't play this one, so I did not know.
I also never played it. It is the Vita Assassin's Creed game that came out around the time of 3.
Isn't this the one that the assassin is like a former slave? Is that the one I'm thinking about?
You're thinking about that's 4 DLC. This one is the one that has a female assassin.
Oh, okay. Kyle, you're thinking of, I think, Freedom Cry from Black Flag.
Yes. Something like that. It is from Black Flag.
That one.
Yeah.
Because
they took a character from 4 and made it.
I think it's the slave that he frees, and he works with him on the ship.
Yeah.
And the DLC is about him when they split paths or whatever. Yeah. So. But that is all of your new and notable. As usual, it is old and noted. So Kyle, take us away into what we're going into next.
Next up is housekeeping. We are going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we will give you all the video game news you need to know about. So we will be right back. We put a lot of hard work into the shows that we make, and yes, we make multiple different shows here at The Whatnots, and we'd love it if you check them all out. You can find out more information on our website at thewhatnots.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. When you type in The Whatnots, all of our shows will pop up right there. Just don't forget to give us a nice rating and review if you like the shows. If you want to support what we do here at The Whatnots, patreon.com/thewhatnots is the best place to do that. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. You can get all kinds of exclusive content at the $3 tier. You can also get a shout out and a thank you on all of our shows at the $5 tier. You can support us on Twitch by subscribing to our channel at twitch.tv/thewhatnots, and we would love to have you all join us for our live streams and talk with us in the chat. And lastly, we have merch. If you'd like to grab yourself a shirt or a sweatshirt or a mug or something else, go to thewhatnots.com/store to pick up some merch today. And we are back. A big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us. We appreciate you. Thank you. Cool things that we have been up to here at The Whatnots. Let's see, here on the Captain's Log, which is our kind of off-topic pop culture podcast, we recently had a trivia night on that. Ignacio got to join us for that one. We also, the week after that, we talked about some more Mountain Dew stuff that we normally talk about on that show because I
It's
don't
the
know
gamer
why
drink.
We do it, but
it's the gamer drink.
We did that. I accidentally ended the show early. The stream went down and everything. It was chaos. We had all sorts of fun and shenanigans on that
Chaos
show.
week.
On the Whatnots review show, we recently watched a movie called Destroy All Monsters, which is a 1968 kaiju movie, which stars Godzilla and Mothra and Rodan and all of them. And they get mind controlled by aliens and everything. That movie is wild. We had a blast watching that one. So go check that out. And let's see, on the Reactor Core, we just did our spoiler cast for Thor, Love and Thunder. And I guess by the time this goes out live to everyone on podcast feeds, we will also have talked about the finale of Miss Marvel. So be on the lookout for all of that good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, that's all the cool things we've been up to here at the Whatnots. Go check all of that stuff out. But now let's get into the news of the week. Man, that graphic
doesn't
just
sound
did
right.
Not,
That did not sound right. That sounded off.
Let's see if I can run that once again. Here we go. News of the week. Button go.
There you go.
Much better. Much better indeed.
Second time's the charm, baby. Let's go.
Indeed. So number one on the list, we actually have some more new dates.
Yep.
First and foremost, God of War Ragnarok finally has a release date. And they released a new trailer for this as well. I will be playing this in the background here in just a sec. But yeah, the new release date is in November 9th. What do you guys think of this? Are you guys excited for God of War? Is this your most anticipated game? Will this make Game of the Year? What do you guys think?
For both of those questions, I think by de facto, it is. It is
Okay,
my most anticipated game because there aren't many games coming out, and also it will probably end up being Game of the Year.
Yeah, I'm wondering how it's gonna compete with Elden Ring, because there is that recency
I keep
bias.
forgetting that Elden Ring came out this year.
Right, there is that recency bias that end of the year. God of War just came out. That's the one that's hot on people's minds. It might sneak out the win.
I think God of War will not win Game of the Year only because it's more God of War, and while it's got a lot of hype behind it, the hype of Elden Ring is the fact that like when it came out, people were like, this game like did the open world exploration like no game before it. So I think in terms of like the design impact, Elden Ring technically holds stronger. If God of War wins, it is literally just because of the hype.
Make whoop. You already have Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and honestly,
Cuphead DLC did come out, so Alan might be like, Cuphead Game of the Year again.
I'm gonna get shit on for this, but I am going to play God of War Ragnarok because it's an exclusive.
You did not like God of War, let me guess.
No, I like God of War.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't care about this game. This game could have got delayed and I would have felt nothing.
You're awful.
I feel like
you're awful.
I feel like this is the one big release of the year that when it got a release date, I was like, okay, it comes out. Like I didn't get excited for it. I was like, all right, it'll come out. I'll play in November.
Jesus Christ, Alan, come on.
I'm sorry.
You better be sorry.
We don't forgive you.
I liked God of War, but
Doesn't sound like it.
Norse mythology, it's not really something I like because I like Thor. I like Thor Ragnarok and Love and Thunder, but I don't care about his world. I don't
really
care
not.
about the God of War world.
Anyways, God of War has a new release date. Everyone but Alan is excited.
I say that they should have gone with
Watch it comes out, and I'm like, guys, this is the game of the year, boys.
Nah, but it comes out and you say, nah, didn't like it. I won't put it in my game of the year list.
It'll be number 10 on the list.
Nah, you won't even put it. I still think they should have gone with November 11th. Make it 11/11/22.
Yeah.
But Wednesday, it is a bit of a weird day to release a game. They usually do Fridays or Tuesdays, Mondays maybe. So yeah, weird that it is on Wednesday, but Wednesday is technically Odin's Day.
Woden's Day. Yep, that is where Wednesday get its name. So that might be like a hint or an Easter egg at
Could have been
what is happening.
Could have been Thursday. Make it Thursday.
Yeah. Because I think the collector's edition comes with
Mjolnir.
So it could have been on Thursday. But I think also part of it is that don't by like moving it out to like Thursday or Wednesday, that extends their opening weekend technically from that Wednesday to the end of Sunday. So I feel like they're going to get a lot of sales, and that's hopefully bumping their numbers up.
Even though it's dumb, the collector's edition, it has all that stuff, but it doesn't have the fucking game. It doesn't have the physical game.
It doesn't.
No.
Wow.
No, that super mega collector's edition has a digital code for the game, so you get the steelbook and everything, but there's no disc.
Oh,
you don't get the
steelbook.
You don't get the physical game.
You get the steelbook, but no CD.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like you have to craft it yourself with Mjolnir. You have to actually you have to get the hammer and go to your nearest forge. So Google, and then you have to melt make the disc. Indeed.
Yeah, you have to melt all the ore and just drop in the code. That's how you make the disc.
At that point, you might as well just make a summoning circle and just summon the disc.
Yeah.
Well, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. The next bit of news here is that Forespoken has been delayed. They put up a post on Twitter here that says, as a result of ongoing discussions with key partners, we have made the strategic decision to move the launch date of Forespoken to January 24th, 2023. And they say a little bit more on that. But yeah. What do you guys think of Forespoken moving to January?
They moved it out of the fall season because God of War is coming out and The Last of Us Remake's coming out. They moved because of the fear, because these are beloved franchises that are just going to eat Forspoken's lunch over and over again.
Yeah, you have to pay attention to that the quote that says, as a result of ongoing discussion with key partners.
Yeah.
Key partners. Who is a key partner in this game? Sony. Sony is a key partner.
Wait, does Sony have any big games coming out the rest of this year? I don't. I feel like I got two on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. Also, I wonder what this means for Crisis Core, since we know it is coming out this winter.
Crisis Core, I think, is going to be fine because God of War and Last of Us and Final Fantasy, those two games and Crisis Core fit two different groups of people.
Yeah, but I wonder where do you put it? Because it cannot be that close to Forespoken.
It could still be in December. It could be
again
in February.
different groups.
It could,
but it's still Square Enix.
Forspoken
and Crisis Core is the same group.
I only got one funny story about Forespoken for you. So obviously from prior episodes when Forspoken's brought up, obviously we know from past experiences, Gino is very hyped for this game. I see the game and I don't think it's going to click. Like, I just don't think it looks good enough yet. I will never forget the day I went into GameStop when Forespoken had its original release date. The guy at GameStop, the manager, told me to pre-order the game, and I told him no. And his exact words to me were, you cannot pre-order it. You cannot pre-order it, but I guarantee you will be back at this GameStop to pre-order Forespoken because you'll want it. And because of that, I will not pre-order the game, and I will not go back to that GameStop because I will not pre-order this game because I don't want it.
Yeah, that'll show them.
Take that
GameStop.
Take that, GameStop.
I'm sure GameStop will be fine, right?
You can't dictate what I'm gonna pre-order. I pre-ordered Digimon Survive.
Fine.
Clearly, I have low standards.
GameStop will be fine, right?
Yeah, GameStop's not in the news this week at all. God, you know what? Let's jump to that one.
Yeah. Let's just go there.
Let's go straight to that one. Let's see, where is this here? GameStop CFO has been fired, and there has been another round of massive layoffs, unfortunately.
All because I did not pre-order Forespoken.
Yeah, fuck you, Alan.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, this is coming from Ethan Gatch at Kotaku, who writes, a ruthless sea change is underway at GameStop. The company fired its chief financial officer, Mike Recupero, and initiated another round of mass layoffs, even as its meme stock continues to soar in price. CEO Matt Furlong told staff in an email reviewed by Kotaku this past week that the reductions were an attempt to help the company operate more nimbly as it pursues profitability through an intense owner's mentality. Change will be a constant as we evolve our commerce business and launch new products through our blockchain group, read the first line of Furlong's email referencing GameStop's recent pivot to crypto. Well,
GameStop kind of
they can't catch a break.
Catch a break. That's the word.
Yeah, this. I mean, layoffs always suck. GameStop is miraculously, I think is the right word, still limping along.
That I was gonna say, like, I feel like GameStop is Captain America. Like, every time they get knocked down, they're like, I can do this all day. Like, they just keep getting back up and staying in the fight, and I don't know how.
It's interesting. They do seem to be pivoting more towards the whole blockchain, crypto, NFT stuff, which I know a lot of people don't like.
Which is weird because there was a few years ago, GameStop switched more to like having more like merch and everything else to like try to like reach a broader, like if you go into a GameStop nowadays, there's like cards you can buy. It's like there's games, but I feel like at least 50% of the store is like merch and collectibles now. Yeah. Because they pivoted towards that, and that's not saving them. So like I feel like GameStop just keeps kind of throwing ideas at the board and just hoping something sticks and they'll latch onto it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that pretty much sums up the whole situation with GameStop. GameStop was a very big retailer at one point, but of course, as time goes forward, more and more people decide to buy digital, which stores like GameStop, which sell physical games, their markets start to shrink, and as that happens, if you are of a certain level and you start seeing this whole financial problem with the rise of digital, you of course have to shift to other things. They tried going more for the, hey, we don't only sell games, we'll sell geek stuff also, nerd stuff also, and that didn't seem to have worked that much. I remember that at one point they wanted to reinvent the GameStop store to be more like a place where people can go to hang out with other people.
Cafe.
Yeah, exactly. And then COVID happened, so that was off the table, of course. And this just seems to be a different pivot that they're taking in order to stay relevant and stay afloat. And it isn't surprising that in the situation that GameStop is in, that there have to be layoffs. Of course, layoffs are always a bad thing, but in this case, it is kind of just not justified, but you keep seeing layoffs from companies that keep doing well, but in this case, it is layoffs from a company that is sinking. So it is
Indeed.
to be expected in a way. And I doubt that their shift to crypto is going to help them out. We've seen that NFTs are
Plummeted.
maybe in a worse position that GameStop is right now. So I think that they will have to readjust their take on the blockchain if they want to stay successful. Not necessarily go to crypto, but maybe shift it in a different direction other than NFTs.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yeah. Of course, GameStop also owns Game Informer. So if you guys got the magazine or you listened to the podcast, there were a number of staff members at Game Informer that also got laid off along with this, which really sucks. So
it's another minor thing, like even outside of the changing like what they sell for merchandise and stuff, like GameStop has like so many different like promotions, the point system. Like I know one of the newer things they have is like the buyer's guarantee. So like if you go into GameStop and like buy a brand new game, it has the guaranteed you'll like it. So if you go in and buy, say, like God of War on the Wednesday, I think you have I think it's 48 hours or you have like a few days, maybe. Like you don't have very long to like it. And if you don't like it, because it's the guarantee, you can bring the game back and get a full refund. Like it's insane to me how GameStop can have all of these different promotions and like just benefits for people, and yet they just always seem to be struggling.
Well, I think it is a sign of their struggle where they are just trying to incentivize people to come in. Sure.
Yeah.
What you're saying, the guarantee is kind of like a double-edged sword where you kind of are incentivizing people to go in, making their purchase more safe for the consumer, but it is a double-edged sword where it can be abused and you have to give refunds.
And I think that's also the problem, because I know their other one is like the pre-owned thing. You can buy a pre-owned game and return it for a refund in 7 days. Like they have great policies, but nothing they have benefits the consumer and them. Like it's really kind of one-sided. Like it benefits the people, but GameStop pays the price. Like they need something that can be mutually beneficial for both, but they don't have that yet.
Yeah, they keep trying to find it, but they just
they keep trying.
They keep trying. That's a GameStop story.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the next one here. E3 is teaming up with ReedPop in 2023. This is coming from Michael McWhirter over at Polygon, who writes, E3 2023 will take place during the second week of June at the Los Angeles Convention Center and will be produced by ReedPop, the company that runs international video game events like PAX and EGX, and comic book and pop culture events like New York Comic Con, C2E2, Star Wars, and Star Wars Celebration. The ESA and ReedPop say next year's E3 will welcome publishers, developers, media, and buyers to the show and will present digital showcases and in-person consumer components. Organizers are setting their expectations high for E3 2023, promising titanic AAA reveals, earth-shaking world premieres, and exclusive access to the future of video games. And then there's us, the consumers, that are just like, sure, Jan. Okay.
Old E3 is dead. It's never coming back.
Yeah. This is interesting news, though. ReedPop is obviously very successful in what they do and all of the events that they organize. I don't doubt that they can put on a successful quote unquote E3. That said, I don't think it's going to be the E3 that at least the games industry is hoping for. And if it's just going to be another kind of consumer focused event, they already have packs. Like I don't understand what the difference would be there.
Ever since E3 became open to the public, the E3 that was the like hype event of the year died. It died with that, because by E3 not being a trade show, and we already know by like Nintendo not really being at E3 but hosting events during E3, and now Sony not being at E3 at all because then they do their own thing, like that's a big hit to E3 just as a whole. Like, yeah, they're gonna have more stuff or anything else, but the true hype of E3 having all of your favorite developers and companies like having this great reveals, we're never gonna be there again. It won't happen. It's not that this E3 will be bad, but it's not going to be what people want it to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is so sad that the E3 that we all remember fondly is gone. As you remember, E3 2013 might have been one of the best E3s that they had. I still remember that time. And then, yeah, through the years, as Nintendo moved away from E3, as Sony decided to step back, as it became more of a consumer show rather than a trade show, yeah, it started to lose a bit of that essence that it was no longer required viewing that whole week of E3.
Yeah.
And then with the COVID, it just killed it as we knew it, and I doubt that we'll ever get that back.
I do think the E3 2023 will be a really exciting event. It's just expectations have to be like in check. You have to know what you're getting into, and if you're as we mentioned, if you're expecting like the E3, you won't like it. But if you go in just excited for
Titanic AAA reveals, earth-shaking world premieres.
it's just an attention grabber. It's just a build hype.
Yeah. I wonder what it would look like having with the pandemic, all these other companies now had to shift to digital. We've had so many digital events to questionable success. Okay. And Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, they all have their own things, and now Jeff has his own thing. So I wonder if E3 can try to reel back in, or at least the people that unsuccessfully try to make their own digital events, try to reel them back in.
Yeah,
I'm like hung up on the, as Kyle, as you said, the AAA reveals. Like, I don't think they're actually going to be like new reveals. Like, if I'm thinking about this, all we're going to do is just actually see more of games we already know that exist. And while that is super hype and exciting, it's not going to be this like, holy shit, like we might see like another trailer for like Wolverine or something, or Spider-Man, or like, oh, we'll see Starfield maybe, or Elder Scrolls. Like, we're going to see gameplay or another CG trailer of games we already know that exist, which, to be fair, are going to be earth-shaking and super exciting, but it's not going to be like, oh my God, new stuff. It's just going to go off the hype of stuff we already know that exists.
Yeah. Well, you can argue that was always the case.
Yeah.
Because the announcements always came from the press conferences that happened between Sunday and Tuesday with Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, Bethesda, and whoever else went in there. And then E3 proper started with I always remember watching IGN and game trailers back in the day with their gameplay demos and all that things. But even though that was E3 proper and the other things were kind of like E3 adjacent, if you want to say that, it was still, hey, this is E3 week. This is the week that we know people are going to be watching, so let's put our press conferences on the time between Sunday and Tuesday of that week leading out to E3 proper. But now with everyone doing their own thing, Jeff having his own thing, and seeing what E3 was last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that we'll get that hype again, that weak hype of E3.
Yeah,
exactly.
no, I agree.
I'm going to move things along because we're running a little short on time here. But next up, we got some more details about Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. This is coming from Kat Bailey here at IGN. Ignacio, I know you put like multiple paragraphs on here. I'm gonna skip around a little bit here. So Kat writes is quoting Mariko Sato here. It says various improvements have been made to nearly all other scenes and battles to a point where it could be said that the work we are doing is akin to creating a remake. Producer Mariko Sato says, however, as the core elements such as the story are grounded in the original work, we call it a remaster. Skipping ahead a bit, it's apparent that Crisis Core will be a substantial update indeed. In addition to overhauled graphics, Crisis Core will be fully voiced while also featuring a newly arranged soundtrack. The gameplay is also getting an update, with Zack's attack combos now being linkable and limit breaks being accessible at any time, not just when they pop up in the in-game slot machine known as the DMW. The DMW for its part will remain largely the same, meaning that elements such as leveling will remain random as ever. There you go. So it seems like they are doing a lot of work to this game. Alan, you are hand in your head, looking a little disappointed at the mention of the DMW here.
The DMW I'm fine with. I like that limit breaks are now accessible at any time. Why the fuck would you make the combos linkable? Give an update to the gameplay, fully voiced combos, the limit breaks. But why the fuck would you make the leveling up fucking random from the slot machine? That's the one thing you could have fucking improved, and you left it the same. Oh, why? That's like that is my only complaint with Crisis Core is I hate that you have to have the slot machine get the 3 matching faces and then you have to hope that you get 777s to level up. Why would you leave that in the game? Why would you improve everything but the leveling?
Ignacio, thoughts?
It is kind of what I expected. It is the same game, but just newer. I like that they are adding voice acting to play parts that didn't have it. Of course, Crisis Core is a PSP game, so space was limited back in the day. Now they can fully voice all those things. I'm very excited. They seem to be going to be using the voices of the new cast from Remake.
Cool.
Brianna White, I know, is coming back as Aerith. I don't know who plays Zack. But yeah, I'm excited to play the game. I never played Crisis Core, but I did watch the story as a video on YouTube. So I know what happens, and I still don't know how the slot machine works, but we'll see.
Yeah, this will be my first time jumping into that game, and I have to say, yeah, leveling up is random? That sounds awful. That sounds horrible. But still, I am excited.
Like
for the
I
game.
said, you need because the roulette's random. It's got to land on 3 matching faces, and it spins numbers as well. So it's a roulette of faces, and then a mini roulette of numbers. You have to get the match, and then you have to get 777s, and the game goes level up. You level up once. Yay!
Anyways,
random as ever. We left it in there.
Last but not least, here on the big news of the week. PlayStation has acquired Jade Raymond's studio, Haven. This is coming from Herman Holst over at the PlayStation blog, and they write, "Today, I am delighted to announce that Haven Studios is officially joining PlayStation Studios. Jade Raymond brings a wealth of experience from her industry achievements and an infectious passion for creating games. And the leadership team at Haven is an equally impressive group of industry veterans who have collaborated on some of the biggest and most beloved games and franchises that many of us still enjoy today." Now we know Haven Studios has been partnered sort of with PlayStation for the past year or so. They've been working together, but this kind of makes it official that PlayStation has now bought them up. We don't know exactly what they're working on. They have not put out a game yet, so this is still their first project. From what I understand, it's some kind of large multiplayer game, but I think that's about all we know.
Yeah.
Right.
I was actually wondering that because I was like, what games have Haven Studios made? I can't find anything.
They're brand new.
I'm like,
Jade was at Google working for Stadia, and when that ship was just like, oh, we need to abandon ship now, she was sinking. Like, well, I'm gonna go start my own studio, and this is the one that they made, and yeah, they've been working with PlayStation. But
yeah, they partner with PlayStation right from the gate.
Yeah,
which is why I'm surprised as to why they are purchasing it, considering they were already working in a partnership, an exclusive partnership, and we haven't seen any work from them. So this was unexpected for me. I would have expected it more after the game was released. But
for sure, yeah.
Okay, new PlayStation team.
I guess.
And multiplayer shooter team, from what it sounds like, which is something that Sony doesn't have right now.
Yeah, but it is something that they are working on, especially since they have bought Bungie. And there was some other team they were working with, if I'm not mistaken, that was like, hey, we're focusing on like online multiplayer stuff like that. So it seems like they are gearing up for some big games in the multiplayer space. So there you go. That is all the big news of the week, but we still got some more headlines to discuss and the craziness of what happened to Kojima this week. So let's jump right in to our lightning round.
First news story. Oh, EA. Why do you do this to yourself? Apparently, EA employees are very unhappy about that tweet.
Oh, so really?
We talked about this last week here on the show and how dumb it was. But the stuff that is interesting to me that came out this week is, one, the employees are wildly upset, which I think is to be expected. Yeah. But then the execs were apparently blaming it on an intern that was unfamiliar with EA's catalog of games. That's what they said. And I don't know, but it sounds like the intern was really fucking aware of what kind of games you make and all that stuff and what your agenda is. So this whole thing is just stupid.
Bad publicity is better than no publicity, some would say.
Some would say, yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, PlayStation held a sort of indie showcase where they showed off new looks at 7 indie games, including Code of the Lamb, The Tomorrow Children, and Curse to Golf.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, this was just they just happened to do this in the middle of the week.
They do this every once in a while.
Yeah.
They'll pop out on Twitter and say, hey, in 30 minutes we'll be showcasing new indie games.
Exactly.
Yeah. Rockstar is halting Red Dead Online updates to focus on next GTA. Also, to focus on GTA, they reportedly abandoned Red Dead Redemption and GTA 4 Remastered projects as a result of the poor reception to the GTA trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would have liked
this
remasters from those games, but
this makes sense though, you know.
Having just played Red Dead Redemption for the first time, I think a remaster would have been great. On that, some of the graphics are getting real dated and old there, and God, it sucks to ride the horse. That is just like the worst thing in the game, and in a Western, that should be like your favorite thing. Yeah, and it just sucks. So.
I actually just can't believe that we now have confirmation that the next GTA technically is existing and is going to be coming to us.
But they announced it. They announced it a while back.
No, I know, but like we've gone so long of just GTA 5 just continuously existing that it's like, yes, finally something else.
Yeah. They have to say that they could have gone with a Red Dead Redemption and GTA 4 remasters, not repeating the mistakes from GTA trilogy, because the GTA trilogy is a whole kind of worms that I recommend watching. The channel Matt McMuscles has a series called What Happened, which talks about what happened to failed games, and they had something on GTA trilogy, and it was a shit show how it all happened. So they could have gone with the remasters, but not repeating the same mistakes. Moving on, the new Fable game from Playground Games now has a narrative lead. A new narrative lead. I was like, wait, never had one? It is a new narrative lead. Anna McGill, who was previously the lead writer, has taken over the position. She has worked on Control, Dishonored, Death of the Outsider, and more.
Yeah, so I want to kind of clarify something, and by clarify, I mean that I'm kind of confused by something. I'm not sure if she was lead writer on this new Fable game.
I'm assuming,
a thing, or was because the way they were the like article I was looking at made it seem like she was potentially one of the lead writers on Control. So I don't know.
How I read this is that narrative lead is gone. Now Anna McGill, who was the lead writer on the game, has now taken the position of narrative lead. Yeah. And some of the works that she has done might have been, I don't know, narrative lead on the other games.
Yeah.
That's how I read it.
Good for them. They have some interesting games that they've worked on that I liked a lot. I've never really gotten into the Fable games, but that's some good pedigree for Fable.
Indeed. More acquisitions news. Supermassive Games, known of course from Until Dawn and The Quarry, has now been acquired by Nordisk Games.
Yeah, I am unfamiliar with Nordisk Games. I don't know if they're a publisher or a developer, and who knows what. But yeah, I mean, the people seem to be really liking The Quarry. People still really, really enjoy Until Dawn. So yeah, I mean, they've been making some good stuff, I believe.
Yep. And final news story, the one that we've been teasing through the whole podcast. News story. Hideo Kojima was mistaken as Shinzo Abe's assassin. Now, it wasn't that the police thought that Kojima was the assassin or whatever. No, it was
This was wild.
An Italian politician, I think it was, that linked was talking about the assassin of Shinzo Abe, but used pictures of Hideo Kojima.
It started out on 4chan as a racist
That part I
joke.
didn't know. That part I didn't know.
Yeah, so it started out on 4chan as what I feel like can only be described as a racist joke. That like, hey, Hideo Kojima sure looks like the guy that is like the actual thing. So here's a quick little write-up from PC Gamer from Rich Stanton. It says, on Friday morning, Japan's longest-serving Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was assassinated while delivering a campaign speech for upcoming elections. A suspect named Tetsuya Yamagami was arrested at the scene and has admitted to the shooting. This hasn't stopped parts of the internet from spinning up alternative versions of the events. One that has acquired momentum was the absurd claim that the assassin was Metal Gear and Death Stranding game developer Hideo Kojima. Yeah, started on 4chan, then some comedian saw it and retweeted it, poking fun at or like meant to be poking fun at that, but then that caught the attention of someone, and it's just this thing where politicians started doing it, news outlets started saying it, and it just the whole thing is a nightmare. Imagine waking up and seeing your face on that news being like, and the assassin of Japan's prime minister. Just like, oh shit, Norman, what did we do last night? Right?
Yeah.
God. But since then, Kojima Productions has come out on Twitter threatening legal action, as they probably should.
Yeah.
To just be like, yeah, what the fuck, guys? But that was, God, the wildest story that happened this week. I saw it and I was just like, I don't believe this. I don't believe what I'm seeing. So wild, man.
Wow.
What a crazy world.
The internet. God damn it. Anyways.
And there you have it.
There you have it, indeed. Ignacio, let's start with you. What are you most excited for this week? What are you hoping to get into?
Not necessarily this week, this weekend. I haven't talked to you about it, guys, but I'm going on vacation this weekend. I'm going to Miami, Florida.
Nice.
Miami, Florida.
I'm gonna go there this Saturday.
It's hot there.
It's cold here, so whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna be out there this weekend. The next week, going out this weekend.
Cool. Sounds good. Sounds fun. I was about to say, Ignacio.
Wow, Ignacio, what are you excited for again?
Oh man, I haven't told you guys, but
I'm going to Miami still.
Alan, what are you excited for this week?
I am just excited to get more cards in the mail, and no games coming out, but I'm excited to continue playing in my locals because we started a new season. So the better you do, you earn points. So I'm hoping to do better than last season. So there's that.
Yep, indeed. As for me, I am trying to get as many things as I can out of the way so that I have time to play Stray when it comes out and Live Alive when it comes out later this month. I'm watching a bunch of TV shows. I'm catching up on comics, all that stuff. I finished up Boardwalk Empire. I started season 4 of Young Justice. I still need to catch up on Better Call Saul. Nice. I finished season 3 of The Boys. I read all of Black Science. I'm about to start a manga called The Men Who Created Gundam, and it's about the story of how the
men who created Gundam.
Yeah, and its success and all of that stuff. Wow. So I'm super excited about all of that. But yeah, and as I've kind of been saying for the past couple weeks, I can't wait to play Stray. I want to so bad.
The kitty cat game with his little backpack.
Indeed. They had an advertisement they tweeted out, and it was just like, knock things over as a cat. And it was a video of them just knocking things over. And I was like, yes, I want to play it.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah, I want to do that.
Exactly. Good stuff. Ignacio, where can the people find you on the internet?
The people can find me on Twitter at IgnacioRojasB. That's IGNACIOROJASB.
And Alan. Where can they find you?
You can find me at Twitter at Alan Busby, random as ever.
There you go. And if you guys want to, come on, I'm hitting the button to do the end thing. Is it? There we go. Oh, now it has an echo on the thing. Good God. So I have a button that ends the whole stream. It'll cut off all of the stuff. And I hit the button twice and now it's doing double. So this has been number 125 of Crossplay. We will see y'all next time. Bye.
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 Good God, this is a mess.
What's happening?